All right, give it another roundabout for the TX2A video here. We've got the next rendition of what I've done today to try to play with things. This is a Palmetto State Armory upper and lower. This was a 4-inch upper with a flash can that was right here, dead flush even with the rail. I wasn't happy with that, so I added the Call Valley Slim XL, which was I think 5 1/4 inch, so it allowed it to stick out a little bit out of the rail, which I like. I do have covers for the shelf lock mod. The key mod, I'm not a fan of key mod. Got these little guys that cover it up and makes it look a little better. This one fell off, so they're cheap. They're crap. They don't work that good. Probably from NC Star or something like that. Anyway, but this right here, I got this due to Palmetto State Armory dropping the Colt mag lowers again late last year. I didn't know. Went to check the website recently and was super excited because look at it. Just look at it. It looks great with the magazine that's 90 degrees vertical to the barrel. So it's just phenomenal versus the AR mag with the Glock lower has that kickback that it isn't as attractive. And the upside is feeds left to right just like an AR should. So my issue was with the Glock lower is it didn't want to eat everything. It not like stuff like this, which is that's 147 grain. If it'll focus very good at all. And then stuff like this guy here, which is a flat tip 124 grain. You know, little guys like that wouldn't want to feed, as well as I found Ammo Valley, which has a flat tip hollow point. It was just little stuff like that I was having trouble feeding. Now these guys here, this little fella I showed you from Ammo Valley, was having serious trouble. I mean, I really recall not getting through an entire magazine before I gave up. It was just done. So this guy here, once I found this lower, it was like $169 free shipping from PSA. I was like, I need to try that. I was like, for one, I think these look better. For two, it might clear up some of the issues. So looking at the reviews straight up told me that did not want to clear the older, I guess the Gen 3 and older uppers. They have a bolt that was interfering with the feed ramp. So I will show you what I did to make that remedy fix, just like they said in the reviews, which now that I've done it, I feel I can confidently drop a review on Palmetto State Armory involving that. I did talk to Chad Wiley, who did tell me that this upper being a Gen 3 is, you know, kind of the issue per se. He said that if you get the Gen 4 upper and this Colt pattern lower, you won't have that problem because the bolt is modified to accept that. So this is my bolt. There are many like it, but this one is mine. Without me, my bolt is nothing. So unlike my TACOM feed ramp video, if you see that, I notched this 45 degrees to clear the TACOM feed ramp that was installed. This, I didn't do any of that, but as soon as I put it together, I was aware going into buying this thing, looking at the reviews, the guys were complaining and said, look, I had to modify my feed ramp, all this good stuff. So what I did is I test fit and I slowly ground a little bit off of this right here. Yeah, you can see where it's shiny. If I had to measure it, I would call it 20 thousandths off the top of my head. But if my horrible camera will actually show you the difference in that, probably not. It's not a ton, but it's just enough to allow that thing to get in there and allow this bolt to travel in and out and do its job without making contact. Because it's just right there, was barely keeping me from being able to completely contact the upper and lower and allow the rear pin to takedown pin to take over and do its job. So once I did that, all was well. I was super excited. I was like, all right, cool. was like, this thing has got a big old fat wide feed ramp for feeding left to right, as you can see. There it is right there. So instead of being a single feed cone, this is a double feed ramp that runs to the feed cone that's inside of there, as I've covered before. And I'll say it again in case you don't watch the other video involving the Tacom feed ramp setup, which it helped me halfway. That one I did have to modify the feed cone a little bit so it would nose up a little bit better, because these little SOBs here were still catching. Not as bad as they were. Once I got rid of that little angle that was still there, that was, you know, it wasn't smooth transition, it was phenomenal. Now, I will integrate the video that I had at the range just so people can watch the boring shooting if they want. This thing was giving me the blues at first. The first couple magazines. Now I can cover the downsides to this. This particular one, I do not have metal form yet. I have ASC, and these are, what does that say? C Products Defense. As I'll cover in the video, C Products Defense has been good to me with their AR-47 mags. This is doing great. I also tried the ASC. Both work well. You can do the research on both, just see what Google finds, and you'll find some people are saying, both, they're crap. You have other guys saying, man, I've got 10 of each of these things and they work phenomenal. And you got guys going, buy once, cry once, get metal form, which metal form is supposed to be original equipment, Colt pattern AR-9 system magazines. I don't have any yet, but so this little thing right here was actually an issue where with this installed, it was actually so close that this guy was hanging up. All right, this thing would lock my magazine in. After I got some failures to feed, it wasn't right. I guess the spent casings was coming back and lodging it over even further over time. So I noticed that when I couldn't get my mag out, popped the upper off, and I said, man, this thing is dragging pretty dang hard. So what I do, took my handy dandy piece of crap pliers I happen to have with me that were pathetic. They weren't very good tools, so it made me struggle a little bit, but kept cranking on, did what I had to do, kept pulling it over, test fired it, acted a little funny, but I was like, man, see how much room I got. Tweaked it over just a little bit more, and I will say that I have this thing over to where it's still clearing this bolt, but it is close. If I put the upper on here, no magazine, flip it upside down, look inside the meg well without anything inside of it, it will show me that it's pretty close. But that right there, called I guess the ejector tuning, getting it where it's at, and looking down it, it's cocked to the right just a little bit. Either way, I found the magic spot. This thing, once I bent that over, was eating every dang thing I threw at it. It didn't care. It was phenomenal. So I kept running mags, and I had that just one more mag. You know, what if I'm just missing out on a magazine? I probably want a total of 5 more 32 round mags. These are 147 grains that I put together myself last night before I went to the range. It was 100 of those, at least 100 of my flat tip round nose. I had run a bunch of ball that I got from Academy today. Some crap that's so cheap I've never heard of it. Then I also ran the Steelcase Monarch, which was pricey, like 15 bucks for a box of 50, because I didn't know. I was just upset that I didn't have any toll ammo. The dirty, funky toll ammo that, you know, if you can run that, you can run anything, right? Didn't have any. I was, you know, kind of in my feelings. So I got the Monarch. I ran it. Realized that it was an actual hollow point for Steelcase. I was like, wow, okay. It was not lacquer. They had lacquer. They had polymer. I ran the polymer coated because polymer, I think, does better on the chamber side of these guys. I think it's a good thing, because I do believe lacquer will build up inside the chamber and can potentially give you a headache if you need to worry about the reliability. So, did what I had to do. This guy here, unlike my other AR lowers that are Glock dedicated, like this little guy here, it does have the ability to run this thing and to hold the bolt back. unlike the KS47, which if you know about that, that is a Palmetto State Armory. The Gen 2, the Gen 1, I think was kind of a failure for most people. A lot of complaints came out with Gen 2, and Gen 2 has been phenomenal, but KS47 does not even have this built into it. This is on the Glock lowers, it will hold the bolt back. KS47 not so much. It shoots 7.62 by 39, takes an AK magazine, it's phenomenal. I'm going to review that later, just for folks curious. I have a third one on the way, so yeah, they're that good for me. So yes, the upside is it will hold the bolt back if you allow it, but there is no last round bolt hold open feature while operating the system. This, with this, it works. Every magazine I dumped through it, it did its job. This little fella right here, it popped up and it did its thing. You can see with the hammer on it, it's stiff. Anyway, one thing's on the bolt, it does push up right here, comes through, locks that guy up. The bolt stops. One out of the many magazines, whenever I did take the new magazine, slap it in, it automatically dropped the bolt, which is cool in an expedient magazine change situation. That would be a good thing. It only did it the once, so don't plan on it being a positive thing for you if you buy it for that reason, because it's not likely. This lower here is a factory setup. It's not like my other ones. I have some with the enhanced trigger system from PSA, which it's better. It's better than mil spec. I do bend the springs a little bit, just trying to get a little extra out of it. This one, not being enhanced, if I have interest showing that people give a crap about how I do that, I will gladly make a video showing just how I do it. Now, I can take this guy here and show you, and it's a mechanical trigger pull, and take this little fella. I said, run that, put it down here and pull it till it pops, and that pulled right a little over 5 pounds. And I want to say I had this one, or might have been one with the enhanced trigger. I think I had that dude pulling 4.5 to 4.7. This one is, yeah, I pulled about 4.8. We'll call it 4.75. Not bad at all for a mil spec trigger that most people consider crap. They're usually 7 pounds plus. So I tweak it a little bit. I know my limitations on that. You can only go far enough to make it work without hurting it by making sure you know you're running stuff like brass. Brass is going to usually use the I guess the boxer primer is what you call it. Berdan primers are usually hard. Boxer primers aren't, so you can get away with it. I've tried to mod my trigger springs for my 7.62 by 39 stuff and run the tool ammo, and it was, you know, hit and miss. I was getting some light primer strikes, and those do have an extended enhanced firing pin for the hardened primers that do need a little more striking capability. Now, as far as this system here is concerned, if someone wants to know, it is a ADE advanced optic. It's nothing spectacular. It's on the budget side. This thing was like 97 bucks, and I'm trying to remember if I can even see the same one anymore, but it's got a nice large wide field of view. You can keep both eyes open whenever you're utilizing it, and it's actually still on, or I turned it on whenever I was holding it, pulling the cover off. Anyway, very nice field of view though. I do have 45-degree candid irons on this for backup. It does have a eBay special hand grip that I still think was like 40 bucks or something. It works. Cavelli Slim XL. Don't ask me how much that was because it's been so long. I don't remember. I do need to upgrade the charging handle just because the nicer ones are prettier, but I have not yet. This is still regular old furniture. It does have a tailhook mod 1, which I really like because it looks spectacular. And it is alloy, made out of aluminum. It's light, but it's rugged. It's not gonna bend. You're gonna set it in a safe and do whatever with it. It's not gonna go anywhere. But overall, this thing was phenomenal. So let's see, I got that situated with it being bent, and I've got you shown on the mod for the feed ramp on how to make it work. And as I said, Chad Wiley did assure me that the Gen 4 stuff is supposed to clear this. There's a little spacer in there, and I wonder if that's where it was. So, you know, it's a good thing. But this thing is stellar looking with this. I mean, I couldn't be more pleased with it. At first, I was kind of irritated because I had my failures. But like I said, if you want the straight looking magazine system, instead of the, you know, Glock Goober angle, which it is what it is. But Insight, PSA, they're badasses up there that, you know, they make me the fan that I am because they're willing to help their customers through and through with any issues. They did tell me that they are not only going to make a dedicated lower that runs the AKV, which I will review later, AKV magazines, and I was insider told, I don't know if I'm supposed to say something or not. Chad Wiley didn't say. I asked him if I should keep my mouth shut on stuff I found out. He didn't tell me no. He didn't say yes. He didn't say anything. You know, so he read it and didn't care or something. But they are going to make a dedicated lower that takes the Scorpion magazine. We'll call it Scorpion pattern magazine. Takes the AKV mag. AKV mag is a 35 rounder. It is a steel feed lip supported system for the mag. So it got rid of the bendy, breaky, early style Scorpion mag setup. Tons of the Scorpion guys are sucking up the mags for the AKVs, and they need to leave them alone because guys like me want them for our AKV. My AKV will be back as soon as possible. I'm sure they're going to get it taken care of. I'll review that. I'm like the only guy on the planet that had some feed ramp issues. It's no big deal. I knew they'd take care of it. It's not a problem. But alongside of an AR9 system that's going to get the AKV mags, it says, it says U9 or something like that, U-9 on that magazine if you have one. That explained to me that's Universal 9. So, AKV / Scorpion mag. It is also going to fit, soon to come, an AR9 lower. So we'll be able to run it with that 35 round magazine. And it's got that nice swoop forward that kind of reminds you of some of the other cool gangster German and other style design systems. But they said along with the long-awaited, and everybody's just dying to get their hands on one, the MP5, they're going to call it the PA5 last I checked. They're holding out, guys. They're holding out to that thing as 100%, but alongside of that thing releasing with MP5 mag compatibility, it will drop another version that will take the Scorpion / AKV magazine. So there will be multiple options. I can't wait to see how that goes. I think they're going to just nail it out the ballpark because their turnaround time on correcting the issues found with the AKV were just stellar, phenomenal. I can't wait to do the review for it. You know, call it like it is. I had some issues feeding stuff, and I didn't care. I was like, whatever, I love this thing, can't wait to send it back, have them fix it. Hopefully I found an Insight, because this is one of the ones that didn't want to feed as long as everything else I put with it. But I am suggested some modification to the AKV. When I get it back, I'm going to modify it with their approval, and then we'll move forward with it and be able to incorporate that design, if they like it, into every other AKV moving forward as far as my little idea. So we'll see how that goes. I do have some video I'm going to put in with this thing firing, including the earlier hiccups before I adjusted that ejector tuning issue. And yeah, man, it's been great. Thank you for bearing with me, anyone that's watched my crummy video, because my video editing app, I think, is kind of hurting my video quality, I think, because I'm trying to upload this in 4K and then with the record session, and then modifying it with the app that I think is hurting it. Whatever, it's temporary until I get about $500 to drop on some video camera, and then whatever software comes making it work. But like I said, any of you guys that are looking forward to that, feel free to ask any questions. I mean, I'm always usually available and going to be able to reply to my channel, unless for some reason it blows up and I get 11 million replies in a day. Then that's just, you know, my life extends outside of the pew pew life. And yeah, it's good stuff. Check out my videos of it firing. You'll be able to see my epic failures before it starts running religiously perfect after I got that extractor situation done. All right. Thanks a lot, gentlemen. All right, so I'll give this a shot. Problem I do have is when you try to charge this thing with a magazine in it, these dual feed magazines like to pop up a couple rounds and kind of run things, so I'm having to lock the bolt back and then let the bolt forward and it'll load fine. So that's what happens from there. Alright, there we go. That's a bit of a problem, so let me clear that and we'll get back to it. A bit of insight on how to load these magazines effectively without being a big massive pain. This little guy here, Palmetto, incorporates a design that alters from right to left while loading the magazine. Only goes on one way, right there, locking tab. And make it so that it pushes down, you drop in your round, alternates, goes back the other way. Yeah, just to make your life easy. If you're gonna end up getting into one of these, it's definitely the way to go. Just a heads up. I'm gonna try to keep some of these videos down in the interest of time, but funny thing is I didn't pay attention to the box of steel case ammunition I bought from Monarch that is polymer coated. But I had an idea cross my mind of, get some steel case. I was at Academy. Walmart didn't have any personnel there to help me at the moment, and I was trying to hurry up and get out here to the range, get some shooting done. So hauled over there to Academy and found a Monarch 9mm and grabbed a couple boxes. And surprisingly, I was like, why is this stuff so expensive? I mean, it was like $14 for a box. Since when on God's earth is this stuff that expensive for steel case? Well, I didn't pay any attention to the fact that it's hollow point, so it's kind of a goober design you see there. So that'll focus. Being the flat tip on there, if that feeds, that's a good thing. But I did find that my extractor on the lower was actually catching the side of the feed lip here. It was way too close, so I went in there and I did a little bit of prying and bending. And right now I just went through a 32 round mag of that cheap Independence aluminum cased ammunition. Bought 100 box of that stuff just to run it as well as some of this cheap stuff, and it ate it. Pretty pleased with that so far, because this thing was having some malfunction issues, and I realized I couldn't even pull this thing out from the rounds getting in there and doing whatever they were doing. And man, so far I cranked it over a little bit and went a little bit more, and it's no longer catching this when it goes in, and it's eating. So I'm fixing to run this stuff. This is filled this mag up 32 rounds of steel case Monarch, and it is polymer coated. They had the lacquer. I don't like lacquer in any type of AR system because it is notorious for sticking to the chamber. So I'm gonna run this through and I will report whenever I get done with it. All right, stick tight. Last round bolt hold open is working actually. And I have that feature with the Glock. Go. She's locked open. Not too shabby. Alright. Load up with some of this ball ammo. I'm sure it's going to eat that fine because it's not going to have a chance on catching on feed lips and whatnot. Unlike this little guy right here. This was having issues in the Glock, like I said. Some Ammo Valley cheap hollow point stuff. It's not for defensive purposes. So, yeah, let me load this up and keep going.